This is Dan, and this is the Napkin Academy. This lesson will be Process Step 1, Part 2. This is active looking. Might remember when we just concluded the previous lesson, we had just talked about what active looking is, and we were just about to dive into a spreadsheet of which we were going to use some active looking to do some data visualization. Let's do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this real now. Let's put active looking into real practice in a business context. We're not going to be drawing horses anymore, although that might be fun, but this is going to be kind of fun too. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our set of data. We're going to pull that set of data because this is something, of course, that in business we're very likely, regardless of what our job is at one time or another, to be expected to be able to make sense of, whether we're in finance or not. Being able to look at a spreadsheet, remember a spreadsheet is our friend. Just keep reminding ourselves of that. We love spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are our friends because they contain so much data within a single place where we can look at them. So let's go ahead and review really quickly what our process is going to be. Step number 1 was to collect data. Well, we've already done that here. The data has already been collected in this particular table. And I'll tell you when we're done with this exercise where this data came from because it's kind of interesting. Step number 2, of course, is to lay it all out where we can see it, and that's what we've done, and that's why, again, we love those spreadsheets because now we've got one place to look at it all. And step number 3, of course, what was it again? Find a coordinate system. Find a coordinate system. So what does that mean? I'll tell you. We're going to look at it quickly, but I want to just very, very fast make a side note of what we're about to do. What we're about to do is a very specific part of visual problem solving or visual thinking. It's one piece only. And the name of this piece is data visualization. Many people think that data visualization is all of visual thinking, and those people are not entirely right. Data visualization is just one piece of the entire world of visual thinking, but it is an excellent piece to start with when we want to practice our active looking. Later on, we're going to move into very, very different kinds of visual thinking that has nothing to do with data visualization. But I do want to point out that that's what we're going to do now, data visualization. Excellent way to get started with active looking. So, that side note aside, where were we? We were at the point where we'd said step number 3 is to create a coordinate system. What does that mean? How are we going to create a coordinate system of whatever the heck it is that we're looking at in this spreadsheet? And what is a coordinate system? And why does it even matter? A coordinate system is nothing more, it's a fancy word, it's nothing more than a term for the framework of a space that allows us to map together like or unlike pieces of data. A coordinate system is the underpinning of anything that we have the ability to look at or see. We actually see the world according to coordinate systems. Now, we don't think about it because normally we walk happily through the world. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. Just happy through the world, and our eyes are constantly recognizing, this way's up, that way's down, this way's forward, that way's backward, this way is left, this way is right. Constantly we're building that model in our mind. In fact, it is the fact that we live in a three-dimensional world and the fact that we have evolved to be able to see up and down and left and right and forward and backward that allows us to navigate the world at all. We automatically see the entire world through a coordinate system. And in fact, let's see how quickly I can draw up my little horse again. How do I see a horse? Well, I see it, believe it or not, according to a coordinate system. It's a very simple one called up, down, front, and rear. I see everything through a coordinate system. So when I'm looking at a spreadsheet, when I'm looking at data, my coordinate system might not be up, down. Let's say I'm looking at a map. What coordinate system do we always use as a standard when we want to map out the world? We say north is at the top, south is at the bottom, west is over on the left, and east is on the right. That's a coordinate system. What kind of a coordinate system are we using if we're tracking the stock market? Oh my gosh, ooh, let's get better. We're using a coordinate system, and what are we mapping together? We're mapping together price by time. It's a coordinate system. What kind of coordinate system would we be using if we wanted to, say, build a chart where we were comparing the prices of different items in different locales? So let's say that this is the price, and this is Montana, California, Texas, Arkansas, Alaska, and Hawaii. Well, all we're doing is we're saying the coordinate system, again, is price versus place. Every picture that we have the ability to draw, whether it is a spreadsheet, whether it's going to be some kind of lovely data visualization, or whether it's going to be our friend the horse, is always based on an underlying coordinate system. And step number 3 again was simply to find it. So that is what we're going to do. Back to our set of data. Now the reason we love spreadsheets again is because spreadsheets already have built in the coordinate system. Somebody has already made up the decision to say, what am I going to map versus what? What versus what? And in this particular case, let's look at this spreadsheet for a moment. At the top line row, we have something called item. It looks like college tuition, prescription drugs, unleaded gasoline. It looks like a bunch of stuff. Stuff which is labeled as items. That's what our coordinate system is running up and down here. And then running side to side, we have something called units, which is, okay, years. Okay, so these appear to just be qualifiers to how we're counting this stuff. So you know what, I'm going to say that for the time being, I'm not really interested in that one. I mean, I know that I've got stuff. This seems like an interesting thing, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Then I've got some years, 78, 1990, 2007. Okay, so I've got 3 sets of years, and they appear to be, well, in the first case, am I doing this right? It looks like it's about a 12-year jump. And in the second case, it looks like it's about a 17-year jump. All right, so we've got 2 jumps of years, and oh, what's this within years? What are we labeling within years? Oh my goodness. We've got something that look like prices. Huh. Okay, so we've got prices, and then we've got something over here. What's this last one called growth? What is growth telling us? I'm guessing, and let's see if I'm guessing that what growth is telling us is what is the growth? Ah, that's what it is. What is the growth in price from this period to this period? So from 78 to 2007, the price of a college tuition in a public school went up by 9 times. Got it. So in order to think through our coordinate system, we first had to identify, well, what do we got? What stuff are we looking at? That's where that active looking comes in. What stuff are we looking at? So we're looking at stuff, units, I don't care. We're looking at some period of time. We're looking at price, and we're looking at price growth. So how might we be able to map that out? Well, one option might be to say time is always a nice one to map out on a horizontal axis. We could be comparing time, what, time to stuff? No, that doesn't make any sense. Time to price? That would be kind of difficult to draw out what that would be. What I'd rather have is have my prices appearing here. Oh, that's what I could do. That would make sense. What would happen if I made a coordinate system that said I'm going to put my stuff here on the bottom axis. I'm going to put price growth, because that's a nice summary. I don't really need to worry about all of these prices because this column actually summarizes for me the growth. So price growth of stuff over this period of time, and then I could just mark in the prices according to my stuff. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So let's build a coordinate system that looks like that. And here's what we would have. On our horizontal axis, what we're trying to do is, again, there's no perfect coordinate system. There's no absolutely right answer. What we're trying to look for is a coordinate system that will effectively be able to allow us to map in the most important data that's in here. So let's go ahead and map in our stuff. And let's be fancy, let's call it items, same term that they used. So we've taken care of that. Items are going to go across here. Items, lots of items. And what we're going to map in on the vertical axis is a price, the growth of price, and it's going to be a growth number, an absolute number. So 9 times is our biggest number, and a tiny one. So that helps us establish what is our rating scale. Our biggest number on growth was 9, so let's just keep it even. Let's go ahead and divide it up. That should do right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is our biggest, so let's cap it off at 10 so we can include everything. And there we've got our coordinate system. And now what we're going to start doing is mapping in stuff. So let's put in here college public. And what we're going to find is that college public, over this period of time that we're measuring, from 1978 to 2007, went up 9 times. And we're going to then say college private went up, only 8 times. And we're going to continue to write in all of our stuff, and in order to not take the time, I've already done it here. So here's our coordinate system. 3, coordinate system. Anybody remember what step number 4 was? Step number 4 was map in the data. Map in the data. So let's do that again. We've already started it a little bit, but as we remember, college public, it looks like I got this backwards. College public has gone up 9 times. College private has gone up 8 times. Prescription drugs have gone up 6 times. The price of a house, gotten those, single family home has gone up 4.5 times, just under 5. And so on. If I was to map all of those in, and what I end up with a chart that looks exactly like this. This is a one-to-one correspondence. This is the data visualization based on active looking of what was previously an indecipherable set of data. I mean, let's face it, this doesn't look anything like that, but I didn't even have to change the order. This is the order in which all of the items appear. And look at this, I get this incredible trend line. Now, step number 4, of course, was map in the data, which I've done. And I'm kind of shocked by the degree to which my active looking at this spreadsheet has allowed me to begin to see a pattern, and there's a clear drop-off in whatever we're looking at here. And step number 5 then was, if we remember, to draw a conclusion. And let me clean this off just a little bit in order to allow us to look at what we've got. Actively look now at our chart and see if we can draw some kind of conclusion about what that data were showing us. The data were showing us. All right, let's see if we can't draw a conclusion. Well, this is interesting. Let's take a look at all of the things. These are clearly consumer products, things that people buy. College education, drugs, a house, car, gas, consumer price index, just as a standard. So it turns out that over this period of time, over this multi-year period of time from 1978 up to 2007, the overall consumer price index, the standard of all costs as generated by the government, went up 3.2 times. Movies, stamps, postage, milk, eggs, airlines. What? U.S. airlines, international airlines, and the cost of a television. Well, this is pretty remarkable, isn't it? I think I'm starting to draw a conclusion. And what it's telling me is that the price of stuff has gone up in varying rates across this time period, and it hasn't been consistent. College educations have gone up 8 and 9 times in that period of time. The price of gas has gone up, 4 times. Average cost of goods has gone up 3.2 times. The cost of a television hasn't gone up at all. And look at this. The cost of airline travel, U.S. and international, has barely gone up at all. It's gone up less than 2 times, 1.7 times and 1.5 times. I've got a conclusion now. You want to know what my conclusion is? Air travel is incredibly cheap, and relative to everything else has risen so little that we might as well say that it has actually gone down. And that tells us something. I told you where this data came from. This data actually came from the International Association of Airlines, who are tired of being told by everybody that, gosh, airlines suck. You know, flight travel may not be as glamorous as it once was, but here's one thing that this chart can tell us. Here's a conclusion we can draw. Relative to just about any other thing that we can buy, the cost of air travel has gone down tremendously, and we might want to think twice before starting to complain about how miserable it is to fly based on the fact that we can now fly so much. So that was our conclusion. Long lesson, covered a lot. Let's review really quickly the main steps of active looking. We'll recall that there were 5. They are, for effective active looking, we need to collect whatever we can get. We need to lay it all out. Lay it out where we can see it. 3, we need to come up with a coordinate system. 4, map in our data or our ideas. And 5, of course, draw a conclusion. That's it.